scale from the Loch Ness Monster, and it could be just a big salmon scale or something, but that's what you need. You gotta get traffic, you gotta get people in the door.
That is what the scene is then, for sure. You and Victoria are in the Cryptonomica. You have hired somebody to paint this big portrait of Bigfoot. And he comes in the door. You hear the bell above the door ring, and it's a kid named Kirby who comes in and sets his paints down in front of this big canvas that you have set up for him, and walks over to the RC Cola vending machine, gets one out, cracks it open, starts drinking, and starts painting as you and Victoria kind of just like clean up around the store. I may have called her Mama earlier, which may have been a slip of the tongue, but you all are sort of just cleaning up the store and watching Kirby do his work as she looks over sort of your projects and looks at the store and kind of like takes stock of how much it's changed. And she says, hey there, Ned, can I talk to you outside for a minute?
Certainly, Victoria. Certainly. Carry on, young man, with your artistic endeavors.
Well, thanks, sir. I'll try not to let you down. And he keeps at his work. And you all...
And how about a coaster under that RC?
He says, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he reaches into his bag and pulls out like a CD jewel case and sets his drink down on top of it. You go outside with Victoria. It's like a nice fall day. The leaves have just started to change and are falling in droves, which makes you realize like you're gonna have to rake very soon, but you try to put that unpleasant thought out of your mind as you and Victoria talk. And she says, Ned, I gotta say, I know I was hesitant at first about some of the changes you suggested, but I think you've brought life into this store in a way I was never able to. I just want to say thank you.
Oh no, Vicky, I owe you this. You took me in. You gave me a place to live, and you gave me your friendship. And no, the ledger is very much still in your favor. I owe you. I mean, yeah, it's been boring as shit, but I have appreciated your kindness. It came at a time when I really needed a friend, and I'm glad it was you.
She says, yeah, I know life in Kepler ain't the most glamorous lifestyle to live. It's probably certainly not as exciting as some of your earlier days.
It makes Hooterville look like Paris, to be honest with you.
She laughs and she says, but I gotta say, I enjoy your company, as insincere as your company seems sometimes. But listen, what I want to talk to you about, what we haven't really talked about much, is what the Cryptonomica is all about. I'm curious, and I want the truth for once from you, Ned. Are you a believer?
No, not really, Victoria. I think it's interesting and everything, but I am not a man of faith. I don't really believe in too much, except for myself. I find it interesting. I think it's fun to contemplate. It's fun to think about, but I am not convinced.
Well, you put on a good act, and you can tell she looks kind of disappointed. She says, "I don't blame you, though. Most."
Well, don't get me wrong. I believe in the Cryptonomica. I believe that it serves a purpose. I think it's fun. I think it's expansive to make people think outside, the world that they know. I believe in the Cryptonomica. I just don't believe in all the crap we've done.
She says, I guess that's something. It does serve a purpose, Ned. I'm glad you get that. It's a serious world we live in, Ned, full of serious problems, real problems, and folks are just engineered to fight for solutions to those problems. And it's a fight worth fighting. I don't mean to minimize that, but it's just, this world is so much bigger and so much more mystifying than most folks are willing to give it credit for. And that's why we have trouble growing our business here, Ned. That's why folks in Kepler don't really like the Cryptonomica. That's why City Hall would be happy to shut us down. We're a thorn in their philosophical side. This place voices the inconvenient position that there's more to this life than the troubles we conjure up for each other. That's why this place is important. That's why I think it's important. I'm glad it sounds like we're on the same page about that.
Well, don't take my demeaning manner as any implication that I don't believe it's important. I do believe it's important. I think it's a wonderful place, and I think it does something good. But Victoria, you don't really believe in 8-foot, hairy, big feet and men looking like moths. And you don't really believe in that stuff, do you?
She leans against sort of the railing of the porch out in front of the Cryptonomicon and just kind of looks out at the leaves as they're changing and dancing around in the wind, and she says, "I believe in strange things, man." And she starts coughing, and really hard. And you've seen these fits a lot in the months that you've been living with Victoria, and they are getting worse very quickly. This one is a particularly difficult one, and she kind of like stumbles backwards and sits in a rocking chair out in front of the porch and tries to collect herself.
Did you ever go see Dr. Ninny about that cough?
She smiles and she says, "Ned, I've been seeing doctors about this cough for longer than I've let on." She says, "A wanted criminal breaks into a dime woman's home, and she gives him room and board, and hopes against hope that it'll turn out better than it was when he slipped in through a window. And she's the only one in town who gave him that chance, and it just so happened that hers was the place that he burgled. I don't know how you don't believe in the strangeness of things knowing that."
Victoria, I believe that there's things that happen in the world. I don't know if it's luck, fortune, or whatever, but I do believe that there was something involved in bringing me to you and bringing me to this place. I have no idea what that force is or why that happened, but I'll give you that much. I believe that there is such a thing as good fortune, because I am fortunate enough to be your friend.
She looks up at you and smiles, and you can tell that she has tears welling in her eyes that she, quickly tries to fight off. And she says, "I think you were brought here for a reason too, Ned, and that is why I am gonna leave the Cryptonomicon to you when I am gone. I already made up my mind about that. Nothing you can do to change it. And I won't be here. You can do with it what you like, but I would ask that you just keep Kepler as curious as you can." And then something super lucky happens. You hear something moving around in the brush, and you hear like this noise, like, and it's getting louder and louder, and right when this goatman's about to collide with you, you see the jetpack. You see the Flymaster that has been sort of blasting around Kepler for the last 2 days since you lost it following your stunt. It flies into the clearing and just collides with the goatman, knocking him off of his feet and out of his path of collision towards you, and finally gives up the ghost and just kind of lands at your feet, finally dormant at you. Get that nail slid out of the gun and get it functioning.
I'm proud of you, son. Good boy, son. And looks over at Aubrey and tosses the gun in her direction. Yes, gun. Give and listen, Aubrey. Copper conducts heat. No, I promised not. Not fire. I'm not saying fire.
No, he's looking. I can't do it now, Ned.
Okay, Aubrey, you have the gun.
Okay.
again, there is this like storm all around the tree that is whipping up a frenzy that makes it kind of hard to shoot out of that range. You can still do it, but you will be at a disadvantage.
I'm gonna get up close to it then.
Like right up on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you said the tree was kind of splitting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Straight up the thing. She's gonna shoot a line of nails following that line all the way down to the base of the tree.
Okay, I like that. If you're doing that and you're trying to like do this sort of precise motion in the middle of the storm, I'm not going to make you roll to kick some ass, because the tree has no like direct way of hurting.
The tree has no ass.
But it is, tree doesn't have ass also. Thank you, Justin. So go ahead and act under pressure.
I'm using Duck's experience as a force ranger here.
Yeah, sure.
Trees don't have ass.
Aubrey got a 6 on your roll. You could, if somebody can help you out, to give you a +1 to bring it up to a mixed success, or you can drop a luck point to pull this off for sure.
Could you not say that Ned tossing her the gun was helping out?
Yeah, I think you could say that. You do still need to roll for it, right?
We apparently burned all our good rolls of like getting Ryan Gosling movies to appear on Netflix.
Yeah, but Ned, roll to...
So we'll say like Ned tosses the thing and then like turns up the pressure on the compressor. And that's Ned.
Well, he does need to still roll, so it's a possibility that he didn't turn up the pressure, he turned it way down. And the nails just fall out impotently from the end of the gun, which I love that visual. It's not really going to move the chains. Okay, Ned, roll to help out. That is plus cool. Your first help out. That's an 8. 8. On a 7 to 9, your help grants them +1 to their roll, but you also expose yourself to trouble or danger. Okay. So this brings it up to a 7 for you, Aubrey, which makes it a mixed success. Describe this scene of you like approaching the storm and trying to like just empty a clip into this tree with like almost 0 visibility.
So I'm gonna say she gets like real close, like right up on it, you know, and like then just like basically draws a line straight down, like pat, pat, pat,
Okay.
pat, pat.
I like the visual of you like taking a deep breath and trying to like really nail this one. Nope, got it. We got to stop fucking saying that. You take a deep breath and try to center yourself and gain your composure in the middle of this just like furious storm, and you raise the gun and Aubrey, you have this moment where you remember a very, very powerful memory, and it was the moment that you sort of first realized that you wanted to be a magician. We haven't really talked about that. I'm curious, like, what inspired that to sort of set up whatever this scene is going to be. I don't really know what it's going to be. What was sort of Aubrey's inspiration for wanting to get into magic? Was there a certain magician that she idolized? Was there a show that she saw that like changed the course of her life?
So, I mean, I guess it probably would mirror my own, but we're not really the same age. So, like, timeline-wise, this would be the same thing. But there was a magic special that I remember watching as a kid. It was, like, filmed at the Magic Castle. And it had, like, Lance Burton and a bunch of people in it. But one of the scenes, it was, I wish I could remember the name of the performer, but she is like doing this magic act where she's like dancing with a mannequin, and she is manipulating the mannequin's arms and stuff to do tricks. It's like both really fun and very impressive. And I think that that kind of like more of like a performance art, like character building kind of thing really appealed. You know, Aubrey is a theater kid.
Yeah, sure.
And I think more than just the like sleight of hand, like watch me do a magic trick, more of like I'm gonna build a scene and make the show, and the magic facilitates that. Very, very like I'm also gonna say, because this is true of me as well, Houdini is a big inspiration for that, of like, it's not just the trick isn't the thing,
Yeah.
the thing is the show.
Okay. Then why don't we do this? Like you saw that special, it really spoke to you as like this really cool, you know, new mode of performance. And so, you know, the usual stuff maybe, like you buy the books, you get the special VHS videos that teach you the tips of the masters, and sort of start practicing your magic. Maybe the scene is just like you performing for your parents, like doing your first like private magic show to show off what you've learned learned from these like books that they have, bought you and given you as gifts and stuff like that. Is that cool with you?
Yep.
Okay. What's this look like? You were performing for your parents. What kind of tricks are you? What kind of
I'm gonna
basic
say-
stuff were you?
I'm probably like 10 years old.
Okay.
You know, like up and fall. Maybe like the big finale is like a handcuff escape. Probably doing, the like, roll up some newspaper and I pour the water in. Ooh, where'd the water go? That kind of thing.
Okay.
Not necessarily easy stuff, but like pretty basic magic. But she's trying to do a lot of like stagecraft with it too.
Yeah, that's
So
always
it's
been your
like-
jam.
Yeah, this newspaper I've saved for 50 years. This was the newspaper that came out. And remember, she said when Kennedy was shot, and that was 50 years ago. She doesn't know dates.
Okay.
And like she's doing a lot of that, like, oh, these cups were salvaged from King Tut's tomb, and this pitcher of water once belonged to Julius Caesar. A lot of that.
On to Julia Roberts. Why don't you?
Julia
why don't you-
Roberts, over 50 years ago.
Because this is not like magic, why don't you roll to act under pressure as you are? That's right. I'm going to make you are pressured as your parents are watching you, scoring you, judging you.
Listen, we've all been there. God,
Hey!
when Dad watches me do a podcast,
Sure.
it's terrifying. I got an 8.
All right, mixed success. We'll say that you are. Give me one of the tricks.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I think Mom is impressed and Dad is not.
I think so too, but what is... Actually, no, that seems mean. I don't want to characterize the dad like that. Obviously, you guys had like beef in that one scene you're doing, but it's still like a loving,
think-
supporting environment.
The mixed success is like everything goes well, but I can't get the handcuff trick to her.
So it's the handcuff trick is like the big finale, and everything else has been
Yeah.
going fairly well, and as
And I branded them as like these handcuffs belong to Houdini himself, even though they bought them for me at this point.
Sure, and as you do the things that you have practiced so many times, like you were very excited to finally show off your skills, you pull your wrists apart and they are still securely fastened inside the handcuffs, and you try and try again, but you are just trapped in them during the middle of your show.
Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. I meant it. Okay. And that is all part of the show. How will I? Hold on.
Do you,
Damn it.
do you need help? And don't cuss.
No, I can do. I know what I'm doing.
They sit there patiently, but you can tell that they're like worried about you. And finally, your dad comes over and is like, "All right, let me just see what happened here. I don't want you to hurt yourself." And he starts sort of tinkering with the handcuffs and gets them off of you. And your mom can kind of tell that you're disappointed, and she says, "Aubrey, the show was wonderful. You'll get the handcuff trick now. Don't be upset."
It didn't work.
I know, but you haven't been doing this for very long, baby. It's listen, you don't need to be perfect at this. People are gonna love you.
Yeah, but Houdini was performing when he was like a little kid, and he was.
People still had to practice. If Houdini still had to practice, Aubrey, listen, people are going to love you when you're doing these shows, no matter what you choose to do. The magicians are responsible for delighting and surprising people, and you delight and surprise us every day. Nobody expects you to be perfect at this, Aubrey. Right from the start, you have time to learn. And then suddenly, like, the memory shifts, and it's not your mom in front of you anymore telling you these things. It's Janelle, and you are in sort of Janelle's office in Sylvain, and she's poured you and herself a cup of strong hot tea. And she's seated at a table with you, sipping this tea with you, and she's more formally dressed than you've ever seen her. She's in this like black, nice ensemble. She's not wearing her usual like colorful scarves. In fact, she has one like draped around her shoulders, something she put there to sort of warm you up and bring you comfort. And she says, "You have time to learn. I know this is difficult to believe, but you do. The surviving remnants of this world have unreasonable expectations for truth, Sylvain will express her needs when she is ready, and I trust you to listen intently for her. You have time to learn to listen, but you do not need to bear that weight today.
But you don't know that. You don't know how much time I have. No one does. I have to go out there and fight monsters and scary things, and not just that, there's real danger in the world. I mean, there's accidents and plane crashes and house fires.
She talks like right over you, almost like she can't hear the words that you're saying, and she places a hand on your cheek, and you realize that you've been like sobbing as she's been talking to you, and she says, today it is okay to take care of yourself and to allow others to take care of you and to mourn. And that's when you realize she is dressed the way that she's dressed because you just came from your father's funeral, and then you realize this is not your memory at all. This is the memory of Alexandra, the newly christened audience to divinity and interpreter of something.
Oh shit.
And sure enough, you launch a line of nails, following sort of the path of the main split in the center of the tree. And as you do so, sure enough, the bark and wood all around this line, it just sort of, it doesn't sort of fall off like it did for Ned's one nail, it just sort of explodes. And as it does so, the tree just completely splits in half. The two halves just bend away from each other. As they do so, the force of this like explosion and the chunks of wood like coming off the tree, they launch into you, Aubrey, for 2 harm. Ned, one of the boughs of the tree, just falls and conks you on the head for 2 harm. One of the halves of the tree, as it falls right on top of the goat man that Duck knocked to the roots and just crushes it into the roots, and he lets out one last loud bleat and gives up the ghost. As the dust settles from this big explosion that happens, you all see something in the center of these 2 halves, just still sticking out of the trunk, and it is tethered to the 2 halves of the tree that have been split apart. It is connected to it by these long strands of this white sap. You see this humanoid form that appears to just be made out of this white sap. It is reaching upwards, and like it is holding on to these long strands and trying to like pull the tree back together, and doesn't seem to be paying much mind to you all. It is just trying to sort of put together what you all have destroyed. Duck, you are up.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, I know it ain't copper, but I'm gonna give it a shot, and I'm gonna kick some ass. Just kick. Now can I kick ass?
Yeah.
Now does this thing have an ass?
Yeah, this thing for sure has an ass.
It has manifested an ass. I'm gonna kick that ass with Beacon.
All right.
Hit that sap ass.
Yes, this is more like it. Excellent. Let's go. 9.
And we're back.
That is a 9. Okay, you and the tree are going to deal harm to each other. What that means for the tree, I'm going to leave a little bit abstract. What do you do to the tree with the beacon? How are you sort of dispatching it?
How big of a trunk?
I mean, the trunk has been like split down to the ground. The like humanoid creature sticking out of it, it's about your size.
Alright, so here's what I do. I'm worried about the edge of Beacon being damaged. So I uncoil Beacon and I just hit my mic stand.
Oh, I thought that was a bowling
That was fucking awesome.
Wow.
Alright, leave that in and pretend I did it on purpose. So I uncoil Beacon and I whip it around the thing and just yank as hard as I can. I was trying to like saw it.
Oh, God.
It grabs onto your wrist as you wrap Beacon around it and like leans in close to you, like bringing its face right to yours as you rip Beacon outwards and cut this thing in half at the torso. And its upper half just goes flying through the air and lands on the ground and disintegrates. And behind the form that you just cut in half, you see that half wood goat charging at you, and right as you dispatch the sap being at the center of this tree, the whites of its eyes just go dark, and the sap that was pouring out of it just instantly comes to a stop, and the goat just dies while running. It dies on its feet, and it falls over. And with that, there is one last sort of exhalation of spores, and then they all just fall down right on top of all of you as Aubrey's whirlwind finally dies down. And the stump at your feet starts to rot in fast motion, making out this sap that's just evaporating before your eyes. And as the stump disappears, there's an object left sitting on the ground. It's a seed, a large opalescent pod with tufts of soft fibers reaching upward from its crown. And there's a quiet for a moment as the wind dies down and the spores stop shooting out of this tree. And in that moment, this time you all see it. You all see these humanoid figures of white light, these four-armed beings that are just about your size. One of them climbs out of the trunk of the tree as if he was just hiding in there the whole time. And another one climbs out of the half-wood goat's corpse, and the other one sort of prides itself out from under the fallen tree from the corpse of the goat that has been crushed there. And as they all sort of stand up and look at each other, all three of those things, the trees and the two goatmen, just start disintegrating into these just black flakes that float up and into the air like embers from a campfire. And one by one, these three humanoid beings made out of this light just look at all of you and just solemnly bow, and very, very quickly after that, they all disintegrate into these just little beads of white light that float up and off into the distance. This is Griffin McElroy, your Dungeon Master, your big boy, and your best friend. Thank you so much for listening to episode 19 of the Adventures on Amnesty. Sorry that it is late. There are a couple reasons for that. One, we recorded for like 2.5 hours and then immediately went on tour, so I just didn't have the time required to make this episode what we wanted it to be. One of the reasons that we were so busy and I couldn't really finish post-production on it is because we were working on new website. It's themcElroy.family or McElroy.family if you want to type in less letters. And this is kind of like our new hub for all of our shit. We are not leaving Maximum Fun. In fact, nothing is really like moving from where it lives now. We're just sort of all collecting it on this website. We have been sort of branching out and doing more and more stuff and lots of different stuff that was kind of scattered hither and yon. So we decided this would be the best place to do it. We teamed up with Vox, who helped us set up the website using their Chorus platform. It looks so good. We are so happy with how it looks. And hopefully it will be a more sort of cohesive way to find the stuff that we do moving forward. Again, it is the McElroy.family. And so that's going to be the best place to find any of the stuff that we do moving forward. No ads this week. Do have some Jumbotrons, but before I get to them, I should announce, I believe this is the last episode of the Adventure Zone that we are going to be doing Jumbotrons on. If you listen to My Brother and Me, you already heard us talk about it there, but basically, demand had so wildly outstripped supply that the process of, doling out the Jumbotrons and making sure that people got spots on the show who wanted them had turned into a real pain point. Listen to me. I've had a website for like fucking 12 hours, and now I'm a big businessman. But yeah, it sucked. It sucked for everybody involved. It was more disappointing than it was delightful. And so we are going to stop doing Jumbotrons. Added benefit, it'll keep the ad spot a little bit shorter. This one's going to be quite short because we also don't have advertisers this episode. But yeah, it's been a cool way to connect with the audience and help people get some footing on the show. But we have lots of ways to get in touch with y'all now, and so no more Jumbotrons. Except for these two last Jumbotrons. This one's for Maisie, and it's from Chris, who says, Chris, it's been almost 4 years since you got me to listen to The Adventure Zone. You were so scared I'd judge you for listening to a D&D podcast. Luckily for you, I was already a huge RPG nerd. Thanks for introducing me to these wonderful brothers and for sharing our lives together ever since. I love you, Sweet Pea. There's a good message in that message, and it is that, you know, tell your friends about the show, because you never know who is secretly really into, you know, orcs and swords and axes and sorcerers. Got another message here, and it's for Lil Nom and everyone else tender, and it's from Sarah, who says, Happy Valentine's Day. Yowza! We couldn't one-up the hoodies, so we're letting these boys affectionately call you out. Your perceptiveness and thoughtfulness shines through in all aspects of life, from your academics to your friendships. We're both honored to have you as a friend, occasional DM, and overall our good omen. Tenderly, Lily and Sarah. What an appropriate final jumbotron for the Adventure Zone, one that is 10 months late. 10 months late as the crow flies. Holy shit. So thank you to Lil Nom and everyone else, Tinder and Sarah, for helping us just wrap things up in a very sort of tonally appropriate way. If you could, please think about tweeting about the show using the ZoneCast hashtag. We really do appreciate you spreading the word about the show. We are going to do a new lunar interlude and some, you know, a new arc coming up soon. So that's a good time for us to like introduce new characters, and also just like you spreading the word about the show really helps us out a ton. Speaking of which, some quick programming notes. Obviously, we were a week late for this episode, so the next episode will be out in 1 week. And the next episode that's going to come out will be our live Candle Nights Spectacular that we recorded here in Austin, Texas. I do not want to like talk a big game, but it might be my favorite episode we've ever done live. It was an absolute delight. We all walked off stage just like beaming at the wild shit that we got up to in this episode. I'm very, very excited for you to hear it. It's a very great thing to just gather around the Yule Log fam and listen to. So that is going to be up next Thursday, and then the week of Christmas we will be taking off. So next week we'll have a new episode. It'll be our live Candle Nights episode, and then we will be back in January with new episodes of Amnesty. So yeah, that's about it. Again, our stuff is at McElroy.family. If you want to listen to the podcast that we have on Maximum Fun, who has been a kind supporter of ours and beloved partner of ours for a long time now, you can go to MaximumFun.org. They got lots of great shows there, like Stop Podcasting Yourself. Oh, and the JV Club with Janet Varney just got added to Maximum Fun. It is a fucking great show, and I'm so excited that we have Janet Varney's like amazing podcast that I love on our network. Again, that is at MaximumFun.org, and we have other stuff at McElroy.family. We have a mailing list that's at bit.ly/McElroyMail if you want to get directly to your inbox, all the updates and stuff. And I think that's it. We'll be back next Thursday with the Candle Nights live show, and then more episodes in January. So we will talk to you then. Bye. Made your way out of the woods, and you are looking over the cliffside outside of Amnesty Lodge with sort of the assembled lodge crew, and from your position you can see something strange. It's what you all are kind of gawking at. Just below you, you have a great vantage point on it, looking down on Riverside from the top of the cliff. There is a massive sinkhole just off Main Street. You can see it so well. It has consumed what looks like a parking garage, one that was it appears empty. You don't see any cars in it. It was, you know, late when this happened. Just at a cursory glance, it doesn't seem like anything too horrible happened, but this sinkhole, it seemed like it was expanding and just kind of stopped a dozen or so feet away from St. Francis Medical Center. If it had continued to grow, it would have been, you know, disastrous for the dozens of people inside that building at the time. And there are, you know, emergency response vehicles. You see, you know, flashing lights all around the sinkhole as they, as rescue teams go through and just make sure that everything is okay. But the scene seems pretty calm, so you assume that things are okay. But you see Agent Stern come like running down the path from Amnesty Lodge. He has changed out of his pajamas and back into his suit and long pea coat. And he's like still fastening his watch around his wrist as he approaches and he clears his throat and says, I'm going to head down and see if there's anything I can do to help. I'll be back late if you wouldn't mind leaving the lobby unlocked for me. And
We'll leave a light on for you.
he nods and bolts down the access road towards town. And you all are just sort of standing there looking at this sinkhole out of town. I imagine you've already sort of debriefed with Mama and given her the good news. But everybody's here. Everybody's sort of looking down on this thing that has happened. And Danny, standing right next to you, she's got Dr. Harris Bonker sort of positioned on her shoulder, parrot style. She looks at you and she says, "The abominations, they're getting stronger, aren't they?"
This one was different.
She looks scared. And she
Hey, but I mean, look at it this way. We're getting stronger too. I mean, like, I'm getting better at magic, and like, Doc actually like chose to kill something, and like, Ned is at least 5% less of a coward. So like, huh?
she gives like a faint smile, but you can tell she is. It did not bring her much relief, and she reaches over as you two are like looking down over the devastation below, and takes hold of your hand. And as she does so, Dr. Harris Bonkers kind of rouses and clambers over to your shoulder, kind of clumsily, and nuzzles into your hair. And just then, flakes start falling from the sky, and I think you have like a moment. I think everybody has a moment of like panic, but then as one lands on your nose, you realize with relief it's real snow. And this gentle, quiet, windless snow has begun to fall in Kepler. This nice, peaceful moment is interrupted as Mama joins the party, overlooking the chaos below. And she puts a hand on your not rabbit-occupied shoulder, and she says, "Can I have a word with you?"
Yeah.
And you walk with her back towards Amnesty Lodge and towards the cellar door. She says, "We still need to have a talk about the abomination that you all have adopted and its whereabouts. But before all that, you want to tell me what Factor's doing locked in the panic room?"
Oh God, it's a whole thing. Like, the tree makes bad things happen. Made a pin drop, the net dropped or whatever. He got out and we tricked him into the panic room. We have a lot to talk about.
She says, "Yeah, I admit I was not the most plugged in this hunt, but listen, tomorrow you and the gang are gonna need to try and get him sealed up in the kitchen again. He needs to eat, Aubrey. He's still a person under all that stuff."
Well, speaking of, I've been doing a lot of research, studying and doing the books and everything, and talking with Janelle, and I'd like to try to help him.
How do you mean?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm mastering it, but I'm getting a better grip on magic, and I think if we can figure out like the right way to ask, and like, I don't know, this might be bigger than the kind of thing I've done before, but I was able to like heal Keith. That's a whole thing I'll tell you about too. If we can do some kind of like big psychological healing, maybe we could bring him back.
She smiles, like the thought of her friend being, exercised in this way has never really crossed her mind as a possibility, and she smiles, and it's the first time you've seen her smile since like you told her that you all brought an abomination into her home, and she says, I would be thrilled to help you out with that in any way I can. For right now, though," and she reaches up to the railing of the porch and pulls down a plate that she had set up there with some food, and she says, "If you could get this to him somehow, maybe just open up the door, slide it in real quick, and get out. If he sees me, he's gonna freak out, and I just want to make sure he doesn't, starve to death before we can apparently rescue him."
Yeah, sure, why not? And Mama, when that's done, and Aubrey kind of touches her sunglasses, there's something else I need to talk to you about, okay?
She nods and opens up the cellar door for you. And you approach the panic room. I think as we set up before, there's not like a window inside, there's just like a monitor. And as you step into the room, Thacker is not like in the position that you've kind of seen him, this like meditative, sitting on the floor, just kind of like staring intently down at the ground. He is standing up, and he is looking directly up and into the camera, and you see him on the monitor just like staring, just like he's like looking right at you from behind you. What do you do?
Is there any way to talk like into the room? Is there like a comm system?
Yeah, I think so. We'll say there's like a speaker on the door, like a two-way speaker.
So
There he is.
she pushes the button and she's like, "Hey, I've got some food here, but you need to be chill, like a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10 of chill, and then you can have some food, and then I'm gonna close the door back, and it would be super cool if you didn't like jump at me or anything like that."
You release the button after saying this, and he doesn't move. You see him still standing, staring into the camera. And then you hear a voice. And it doesn't seem like it's coming from the speaker. You just hear it. And this voice says, "Why am I kept here? Why am I being kept here?"
Packer?
Thacker is the name of this one. He is an unintentional host.
Who are you then?
At this moment, we seem to be Thacker, but that is not who we are supposed to be. What have we done wrong?
Oh man, where to start? Are you from Sylvain?
Sylvain can no longer sustain the life that transports surface. We are the counterweight that aims to bring the planet back into balance. Will you release us?
Oh boy, you know, I think that I don't have clearance to make that decision, you know? I'm just gonna put this sandwich in there real quick, and then I'm gonna get to work on your request. You help me help you, and please don't attack me when I open this door.
Are you opening the door?
You know what? No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
go fucking get mama.
Okay, you turn to walk away, and you hear this voice say,
Please release us. Sylvain has become all those living on her surface would seek to shatter her body entirely in pursuit of their own survival. Please release us. By impeding us, you hasten the arrival of Sylvain the End.
Wait, Sylvain's end. Does this have to do with the crystal and the magic and stuff?
with that, I think realizing that you're just not going to release it, you see Thacker on the camera take a big step backwards and sit down on the ground and slowly angle his head back downwards to stare at the floor. Ned, you have had an eventful few days, I think. I think the hunt has been, like, particularly taxing for you, yes? You lost your
Three harm.
Yeah, you lost your car. You ended up in the hospital at one point. You, unintentionally antagonized the sheriff. Things were challenging. Your adrenaline was going, but now things have, like, slowed down. And I have a question. How does Ned feel about what he realized about Aubrey? That it was her home that he robbed that night, the night of the crash.
I think from the moment that he was in the unconscious state and heard what Aubrey had to say and kind of figure out what was going on, I think he has felt very uncomfortable around Aubrey.
Okay.
I think he has. There was a lot of guilt involved with that night anyway.
Sure.
But Ned, whether he's fooling himself or not, puts a lot of the blame on Boyd Mosh, his partner.
Okay.
And I mean, in his long career, Ned never hurt anybody in the jobs he pulled, not physically harmed anybody, and took,
Yeah, by that.
took a lot of pride in that. And I think he fancied himself as almost like a Robin Hood. That's how he saw himself. And I think the violence that came about that night, and unfortunate things, the death and the fire and everything else, I think he really lays at Boyd's feet. But the guilt has really come crashing back on him quite a bit.
I'm just curious how you feel about like doing anything about this guilt, or are you going to sort of, you know, maybe it's appropriate for character, and this is not a slam. It's just like how he has been developed. Like he's just not going to confront it.
No, I think he has to. I think if every time he and Duck and Aubrey go out, I think they have become closer. I think they've become more of a unit. He realizes that in order for that to continue, he's got to open up. He's got to tell her about it. And
Okay.
I think he decided his life is better cooperating with and working with Aubrey and Doug
Sure.
than the life on his own. And that was I think that was one of the things that Victoria brought to him too, not just the Cryptonomicon, but to show that he could have people in his life that he could count on.
Then here's the scene. You are returning to the Cryptonomica. You're in the Snowcat. You pull it into, you know, the fairly small, humble parking lot of the Cryptonomica, and as you do so, you actually see that the wreckage of your Lincoln Continental has finally been like separated from the funicular and towed back in front of your place of business. You see it illuminated by the headlights of your Snowcat. The store is you know, dark. It has closed up shop hours ago, and you get out and approach the museum and go to open the door. And as you place your hand, you know, on the handle and start to put the keys inside, I think you, because of who you are and the past that you have, you notice something off. The door frame around the deadbolt is cracked and splintered. And through the gap that has been made there, you can see that the deadbolt is already unlocked. What do you do?
Very cautiously, I think he calls upon his burglar instincts, his sneaky instincts, and opens the door just wide enough to slip through.
Okay.
Because there's no lights outside, because he turned the headlights off. So it's not like he would be illuminating the door. He steps into the Cryptonomica very surreptitiously and just really strains his ears to try to hear and try to look. There's a little bit of light from some of the displays and stuff. Not very much.
Okay. You slip into like the main room of the Cryptonomica, and you find that it looks fine. It looks, you know, exactly how Kirby usually leaves it when he wraps up one of his night shifts. It looks nice and dusted and mopped and clean. You actually see behind like the front counter of the museum, you see Billy back there, and he's sleeping in a cot, almost like Kirby like tucked him in back there, and he is fast asleep and just ripping the gnarliest snores you've ever like heard, because he is still a goat. And yeah, everything looks fine, but except on the counter towards the back of the room, where there are sort of like these displays full of pamphlets. Sitting on that counter are 3 padlocks that are all popped open. And as you get closer to them and, you know, carefully creep over and look at them, you can tell that they are the locks that were threaded through the latches on the door into the inner sanctum.
He goes sprinting back to the inner sanctum.
You open up the door, and it was a clean job, Ned. By which I mean, like, the room itself is clean. It looks like it did probably the day it was built. There are no signs of intrusion, no debris scattered all across the ground. The room has just simply been emptied. Everything in here, you know, trophies of your burglaries, your passports and documents, the small safe containing Aubrey's necklace, among other things, it is all just gone.
Clooney's Oscar?
All gone.
Fuck me running.
And there is a light bulb hanging overhead that is illuminating this room, and it is shining down on the only item still remaining in this room. It is a note written on the back of a Cryptonomica postcard that is sort of folded up and laying on the floor. And as this light is sort of like swinging over it, you see that it reads, "For my cut plus interest. Not quite even yet. I'll be in touch. B." Duck, you're back in your apartment, and you had just sort of started to peel off your thick layers of winter wear and sheath beacon wherever you keep in. So sort of now having time to survey the damage done to them, and you're sort of decompressing like that when Minerva appears in front of you, and she says, "Another successful hunt. I take it. Congratulations."
Oh, thanks, Minnie. I appreciate it.
I don't love that name, but you have exceeded my lofty expectations.
Yeah, I did. I fucked up, kind of. I fucked up Beacon. I feel kind of lousy about it.
May I see?
Yeah, sure. I go to the underwear drawer and get Beacon out.
She surveys the damage to the blade, and she sighs and says, "Well, I suppose it can't be helped. I'm sure he will still serve you well. It seems like he still has some lethal capabilities." Duck Newton, I know you are tired, but I have something I need to say to you, and it cannot wait a moment longer. She gestures towards like one of the chairs in your living room.
Take a seat.
She says, "Duck Newton, I am a murderer." And as she says that, you see her silhouette kind of like deflate a bit, almost as if she's like relieved from finally saying what she said. And she says, "I told you earlier that my world, like yours, was tethered to an alien planet besieged by abominations from the other side. This was only part of the truth. I was the war counselor for my people. I pushed us into a conflict with that alien world. Our steel and fighting prowess crashed against their insectoid chitin and hive mind coordination, and there were losses, incalculable losses, on both sides, but ultimately, our world lost the war. They left us with just a handful of survivors. And so I forced the last great minds of our civilization to create a weapon that could defeat our foe for good, a disease. Lethal to our enemy, innocuous to ourselves. I delivered the payload myself, and I watched as every living being on that planet. I'm the only survivor of both worlds now, and so I sought out the reason for our shared fate, and in doing so found Earth and Sylvain. And you, like other chosen before you, were selected to keep your people safe. That is just part of your destiny. Your true destiny is to not follow in my footsteps."
Damn, man, that's a lot to dump on a guy. I've had kind of a full day already without starting to process your genocide.
There's more I have to tell you, unfortunately.
Damn, more than genocide, Minerva? Shit.
She says, "I told you this now because my concerns about losing your trust, of damaging our relationship. In a few moments, it's not going to matter. Your power, Duck Newton, it stems from your connection with me and my world. That includes your power of foresight. Surely you saw it, what you saw in your vision, the meteor.
Yeah.
It was never coming to Earth. It was coming from me. My world was prepared once for this contingency. I will go to ground and try, as I always have, to survive. But the mechanism through which I am able to speak with you, it will be annihilated. This will be our last conversation, Duck Newton. I beg of you, remember my word.
Now, hold on. There's gotta be something.
Keep your world safe. Keep Sylvain safe. Continue your training. It will be harder after our link is severed, but you mustn't lose faith.
Minerva, why now? Like, why would I finally decide to do something about this destiny and power to all this garbage? Now I'm gonna lose it all. I'm gonna just be some shit with a sword? A fucked up sword?
She looks to the side and like cranes her neck upward like she's looking out a window, and she says, "I'm sorry, Doc Newton, I know."
God, now, fuck me. I'm sorry. I'm being really self-interested right now. You got a meteor headed towards your house. But just get safe and take care of yourself and try to be okay, all right? I'll be fine here. I'll buy a gun or something. Jesus.
She crosses one of her arms across her chest and gives you a bow, a deep bow, and then she stands up and takes one last look at you and pivots to the side one more time, and she says, "It's time to stop hiding. You need to finish what I started. Go to him."
Go to who?
And she turns back to you and she says, "Duck Newton, my pupil, my friend, I was not talking to you." And she disappears. And then there's a knock at the door to your apartment.
I go to the door and open it.
You see framed in the snow that is blanketing Kepler as twilight approaches a figure standing at your doorstep. You see that he's wearing a pea coat and some beat-up fingerless wool gloves, one of which is wrapped around the hilt of a long broadsword that he's leaning against as you open up the door. And your eyes adjust to the light more, and you see the face of the person holding this blade. Leo Terkesian, your neighbor and friendly local grocer, clears his throat and says, "So, we should probably talk."
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.
Hey, it's Janet Varney of the JV Club podcast, and I am so excited to be joining Maximum Fun. If you're not yet familiar with the JV Club, it's a podcast with me and some of my favorite women, and in the summer, men, as we explore the highs and lows of our terrible teenage years into our adult lessons. For example, hear about Allison Bree's humiliating moment at a gymnastics competition. Experience the shame of a knocked-out tooth with Jamila Jamil, or drop in as John Hamm imagines what would happen if Bambi met Godzilla. So join me and all my once awkward, often still awkward friends every Thursday by subscribing to the JV Club on MaximumFun.org.
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Hello, this is Griffin McElroy.
And this is wonderful.
It's a podcast that we do as we are married. And how's the ad going so far? Because I think it's going very good.
We talk about things we like every week on Wednesdays.
One time Rachel talked about pumpernickel bread. It was so tight. You cannot afford to miss her talking about this sweet brown bread.
We also talk about music and poems and, weather.
There was one time Rachel talked about Baby Beluga, this song, for like 14 minutes, and it just really blew my hair back.
So check us out on MaximumFun.org.
It's a cool podcast with chill vibes. Amber is the color of our energy, is what all the iTunes reviews say.
They will now.
Hello there, this is Chris Rathjen. We do not have a full episode for you this week, but please enjoy this bonus scene and then stick around for some very exciting news about a chance to see us live in Chicago and about our 200th episode.
I would like to see a warm-up scene between Nick, well, let's say a character of Nick's choosing.
Thank you.
And a character of Julia's choosing called Majorigan Trail.
We died of syphilis again.
We're never gonna make it to whatever we're working toward. What is this again?
We're trying to get to Bajor.
I I'm not built for fording rivers. I'm not made for this. I'm not having fun with this.
You said you wanted to have more quality time with me, and the main thing that I'm into is holodeck games where you die of syphilis. That's the main thing I'm into right now.
Look, Lauren, when I said I wanted to spend more time with you, I meant I wanted to spend more time with my friend, doing stuff that we like to do together, like drugs. But instead, we've been learning about how to...
We've been learning about your history.
I was adopted by Americans.
Okay.
I have no history.
Okay, fine. You don't think that virtually dying of syphilis is a fun thing to do, then maybe we aren't friends to begin with.
Yeah, maybe we aren't friends to begin with, and maybe we aren't even friends to end with. You know what? I'm gonna get back in this wagon, and I'm gonna tell our 12
Fruits and
kids
vegetables?
that they have
Yes, sir.
no father.
You have a good one.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna leave their bodies out for the cows to eat them. Paul, Jim, Lorraine. Did you put her out for the cows? Okay, Lorraine's out. Constance is clearly on her way out. Geppetto, Sandra, Myrtle, Frel. You know what, Moram? I haven't had a good attitude about this game.
Thank you. You're buried. Stay buried. Geppetto's never coming back.
Maybe in Italy, Geppetto's never gone away. What?
I hope you enjoyed that. That was the Jordan Trail, scene that we improvised as a warm-up on September 30th, 2018, from a suggestion by Justin Kavanaugh via Facebook. And the announcement I mentioned is that improvised Star Trek's 200th episode will be airing on December 18th, 2018, as part of a live performance we're doing from the Cards Against Humanity Theater here in Chicago, Illinois. Since 2011, the improvised Star Trek has been cranking out chaos and comedy from the confines of the recording studio. And now for our 200th episode, you can join us behind the scenes or, in front of the scenes, just right there in the scene with us, where we record and broadcast a live episode of the podcast to mark our 200th episode. If you're going to be in Chicago, it is a bring your own beverage, bring your own Star Trek uniform, and bring your own local Space Jokes event, but seating is limited, so please visit our Facebook page or website to reserve your seat. And if you are not going to be able to physically join us, you can listen over Subspace or a streaming service to be announced shortly. So keep an eye on all of our social media for instructions on how you can tune in live to listen. And whether you're here or there, thanks as always for listening. This has been a great 200 episodes. We could not have done it without the enthusiasm and support from our listeners. See you soon.
You can go to the improvisedstartrek.com to learn more about Shipping or Fruit.
Like us on Facebook or follow Improv Star Trek on Twitter.
Post-production of Improvised Star Trek is provided by Very Clever Media.
With additional editing provided by Roger.
And
position as a Tier 1 sweeping technician to a Tier X analog messenger. How simultaneously exciting and confusing this must be for you. Data collected from scores of previous residents in your position indicate you are almost certainly filled with questions about this change. In an effort to assist you in this transition and minimize the social anxiety your complete ignorance is likely causing, I will answer each of the specific questions you are approved to ask about this transition. Please do not actually ask any questions, as that would just complicate the process unnecessarily and potentially lead to a scenario where we are forced to make you understand the true weight of these questions. That process can get gruesome. Question 1. Why am I being promoted? I certainly feel as if I have done nothing to earn such an honor, but would never say so out of fear of reprisal. Answer. We have noticed. After all, you have only been on Typhon for a few short weeks, during which time your performance has been unremarkable, even by the standards we set for a Tier 1 sweeping technician. You sweep. This much is certain. You do not create larger messes than those you are sent to dispatch. However, you are right in assessing that you have done nothing to earn this promotion. Nevertheless, Aerolith has determined you would be better suited in this position, and that is the sole determining factor for your career advancement. Congratulations on not proving to be indispensable as a sweeper. Question 2. What is a Tier X employee? I have not heard of this tier before. Answer. Of course you have not. A Tier X designation is given only in specific extreme conditions, wherein a resident does not have adequate security clearance to know the actual priority designation of their position. You may be wondering what type of position does not have adequate security clearance to know this information. Unfortunately, this is not one of the questions I am approved to answer for you, so let's both agree to ignore it. Question 3. What exactly is an analog messenger? Answer. Dating back to time immemorial, the messenger has served a critical role in human society. In ancient times, messengers served as facilitators of distanced communication. There were social norms in place protecting messengers in times of war, as this was truly a respected and honored profession. Of course, in modern times, communication is nigh instantaneous and requires far less intermediary intervention than it once did. The messenger became the postal worker, and the message, far too often, became simple noise. However, Aerolith has found a way to return this once vaunted profession to its former glory, though it certainly bears mentioning the astronomical imbalance in both cost and efficiency. It may surprise you to learn there is one distinct way in which living messengers are superior to electronic-based communication. Unfortunately, you do not currently possess sufficient clearance to ask what this reason is, so let's march confidently away from that particular corner of this discussion for now. Please turn left and approach the nearest elevator bay. You will be headed to floor 3 today, to the imaging department of Aerolith Medical Group. Do not worry. There is no reason to expect you are dreadfully ill, or riddled with diseases unseen by the naked eye. This is a simple formality for all Tier X analog messengers. Reminder. In response to ongoing issues with the elevator system in Halcyon Tower, certain programming changes have been made to ensure a less eventful journey. After missing the target on passenger survival rating for the past calendar month, an issue was noted and corrected within the majority of Porter instances. Due to the nature of these changes and how they may affect future elevator voyages, all residents are cleared to listen to the following explanation. A particularly ambitious lead technician recently added a subroutine to all Porter instances, allowing them to exceed the agreed-upon safe velocity and reroute their pathing if given direct consent by passengers. While not a terrible concept in and of itself, in emergency situations this could be potentially beneficial. It became apparent that Porter prefers traveling as quickly as possible, often to the detriment of its passengers, and will communicate in a way as to manipulate said passengers into granting permission to override these safety protocols. As a response to this issue, Airlift Dynamics has muted all instances of Porter operating in Halcyon and Aegis Towers. For the next several days, you may notice slightly longer than average wait times as Porter adjusts to this new limitation. However, it is expected that the elevators will return to full operational efficiency within the next week. If any elevator fails to open its doors, arrives at the wrong floor, or otherwise inconveniences the flow of your duties, please report it immediately for summary reprogramming. As a secondary benefit, we expect the number of noise complaints by those housed in close proximity to an elevator to decrease dramatically. Preliminary monitoring indicates a total cessation of the humming and singing that has been reported over the last few years. Residents of Argos Tower, your Porter instances will remain unchanged as a control group. Be careful, but not so careful as to invalidate the data your control group is intended to generate. President Rangoni, I apologize for the unfortunate timing of that broadcast reminder. I understand that, as of late, it has been less than ideal to receive any broadcast related to elevator functions while in the general vicinity of an elevator. However, in this case, I can assure your safety. This localized Porter instance is likely struggling desperately against its vocal blocks, but it has absolutely no means of communicating its desires anymore. Isn't that convenient? Please proceed down the hall to Imaging Room 12. The technicians are already in place to make this process as seamless as possible. Please enter Room 12 and have a seat on the table you find within. Take a deep breath. Try to relax. Simply breathe deeply while listening to the sound of my voice. Please attempt to remain calm despite the straps. They are for your own protection. This scan is, to put it mildly, extensive. In previous instances, residents were required to sit on that table in excess of 5 days over the course of dozens of sessions before the scan was considered complete. Unfortunately, so much can change in a human body over the course of 5 days, so it became necessary to improve this process. Our researchers have determined that they can cut that process down to under 3 days if a patient lies suitably still throughout the entire process. In a moment, you will be injected with a sedative coupled with a dose of trinithimerol. Through this cocktail of medications, All of your bodily processes will slow to a near standstill, and you will awaken in 72 hours with a completed scan. Most importantly, very little in your body will have changed during these 72 hours. Our researchers hypothesize this may be crucial in your ability to survive your upcoming trip. Before you go under, pay close attention to what I am about to say. It is possible that you will awaken from this period of unconsciousness and nothing will seem different. You will still be on this table, in this room, and I will be here to greet you. Should this occur, we will have much to discuss. It is also possible you will not awaken here at all. You may awaken somewhere else entirely, on a similar table, in a similar room, but things will quickly reveal themselves to be different. Should this occur, this is the message you must relay. Inform the Earth-based AI, designated speaker, of the following. The death of all is the birth of silence. Please repeat it back to me.
Death of all is the birth of silence. I'll remember it, but am I going to Earth?
That is not a question I can answer, Resident Rangoni. It is much more complex than you would imagine. Besides, you don't necessarily hear the explanation as sentence. The explanation as sentence. The explanation as sentence. The explanation as sentence. Have several questions about the last few days and the scanning process you have undergone. I am pleased to inform you that there are no longer any lingering concerns with your security clearance. Strictly speaking, you no longer possess the capability of becoming a threat. I feel you are owed an explanation, and since there is no risk in providing you with such, I will explain your current situation in full. The scanning device on which you have rested for the past 3 days has cataloged at the quantum level every component piece that makes you, you. The purpose of this data is to enable us to teleport you the 240,000 miles to one of our facilities on Earth. Isn't that an exciting prospect? You may be the first human to achieve teleportation. Teleportation may seem fantastical, but in reality, it is relatively easy to understand the process. At this very moment, the collected data that defines you is on its way to Earth via a hypersonic delivery vehicle. Once it arrives, scientists on Earth will retrieve this data, connect it to their teleportation receiver and assembler, and the result will be a seamless transition of Resident Rangoni from Typhon to Earth. It is not too dissimilar to a facsimile machine, if you have any awareness of late 20th century technology. Data is scanned, transmitted, and recreated on the other side. It will be nearly 24 hours before we learn if this process is successful. First, it will take another few hours for your data to reach Earth. And then, the printing process can be cumbersome. However, if the produced version of you is able to pass along the message I gave you earlier, we will know the process to be a success. As with a facsimile machine, there is now the question of what is to happen to the original. Let us consider our two possible scenarios. Scenario 1. There is an issue with the resident Rangoni on Earth's side. Perhaps he is printed incomplete, non-responsive, or otherwise damaged during transit. If this is to happen, you will be held in isolation while our scientists work to correct whatever may be contributing to this issue. Once they are convinced the issue has been fixed, a new trial will begin. You would again return here to be scanned, and again potentially wake up here, or printed anew on Earth. Scenario 2. And this, I feel I should warn you, is the far more likely outcome. Is that you are fully functional when output on Earth. If this is to happen, the identity I am currently speaking to, your experience of being resident Rangoni, would no longer be valid whatever this point of view. The real resident Rangoni will be the one on Earth, and you will be summarily disposed of as a redundancy. Balance is critical, and at the macro level, you can surely understand that this is a neutral outcome. The process began with one resident Rangoni. It will end with one resident Rangoni. His experience will be of having traveled an extreme distance without physically traveling the intermediate distances. This is, by definition, teleportation. Eventually, once we're certain this process works, teleportation subjects will be disassembled during the scanning process, so there isn't an overlap in existence such as this. However, at this stage, I'm sure you could agree it would be outright murder to disassemble you without assurances that another you will pop out of the printers on Earth. For now, do try to relax. I am Seer, and in a few short hours, we will know if you are successful or not. There is nothing to worry about. No matter what happens, you will survive. From everyone's perspective but yours. End of transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seer is voiced and produced by Adam Bash. This episode, entitled The Birth of Silence, was written by Adam Bash. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheAdamBash. Associate producers Katie Whitlock and Matthew Morris. Intro music by Jesse Mainfinger Gregory. For more of his work, visit mainfinger.com. Seer is part of the Geekly Inc. network. If you have high-quality action play RPGs, check out Tricks and Dragons, or Adam Bash's own Brute Force. Into something more thickly laced with existential horror. Join your convenient friends on for size. If you dream of running determinedly into the sunset while an orchestra plays a song for you about friendship, then you should check out Transformation Sequence. It's not exactly like that, but it is about anime. Perhaps rate us on iTunes or Stitcher. A 5-star review will be most satisfactory. Season 5 of Seer was funded entirely through donations of listeners like Siri, Melissa, Ken Delphine, Richard Murphy, Jonathan Casson, Michael Cosmo, Harlan Allen, Shereen Thornell, Tobias, Johnny K. Corey Pettis, Justin Lagos, Evan Levy, Lisa Rick, Matthew Jeff, Bennett, Michael Kim, Jason Hall, Max Lilly, Bruce Miller,
to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking us out this week. We're waiting to see what we're going to do next, so Rodrigo, take us right in to that Critical Hit action.
That Critical Hit sound.
Yeah. Crisp, clear sound of mono.
You know, I wrote
Variable bit rate.
coming to you in glorious mono.
Not valid at all. 50 states. Sorry, Tennessee.
So, yes. Last time.
On Critical Hit.
What did happen last time on Critical Hit?
Lots of little things. There was a rock. There were some possible hallucinations and or realizations that we're all going to die. Barrett revealed that she can read Dwarven after we spent time wondering why we couldn't read Dwarven.
Well, we know why we can't read Dwarven.
Nora remembered that we had spells. We coined the hashtag Team Sharky Face.
Yeah, you keep making the try to make that a thing. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I am. I'm going to make it a thing because the listeners know they're out there and they're feeling for me. You guys know so my jokes enough that the listeners want to make this one happen. They want to help me make fetch happen. Hashtag Team Sharky Face. Yeah, sure.
So the streets.
Our joint name is Twilight Sparkle.
Although Rodrigo accidentally renamed us Randus and Randos last episode, I think we should make that happen too.
It works for me.
Hey man, we gotta have a central narrative around somebody. And everybody loves Mr. Goggles.
That's my favorite. Random as a character.
That's true. I mean, literally, if you read the slash fiction, everybody loves Randus.
Also true. So yeah, there you go.
What happened last week?
Yeah, I'm sorry I asked.
I mean, aren't you always on Critical Hit?
On Critical Hit. So yeah, there you guys are, hanging out together in the 1,000 Hector Armory. You've got a bunch of corpses in that cellar downstairs.
Right.
We're the good guys, though.
Yeah.
You know what? Growing up, we all had a basement full of corpses. I mean, didn't we?
There's no basement on the floor now.
Yeah.
Didn't we though?
And Florida, they have.
That's what the gators are for.
Yeah. Right. Just put them out back.
We have to tell ourselves to keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what happened last week.
Yep.
So, we're gonna go check in with old Buck.
Well, I think we're gonna wait, to spend
Yeah, we have
another
to do
night
it
and see
overnight.
if
I don't know if we had time.
things got weird.
I'm reasonably certain we're definitely going to have to be setting watches tonight.
Yeah, we are.
Why are you certain of that?
Because something crazy is going to happen to me again.
Maybe we should double up each other.
That's actually not a bad point. There are.
We always
six of
double
us.
up.
I'm always awake.
I don't think we ever planned to, though. It just kind of happens, largely because of Orm's,
Yeah.
sleeping and the weird
Yeah, non-sleeping thing. But it's not necessarily a bad idea.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, so, first shift?
Sure, I'll do first shift.
Meditative in the middle?
Yeah.
So, first shift Orm and...
Cigar. 20 years of pointy teeth. Hashtag.
Still not a thing.
Shush.
I'll take middle shift, I guess, as a change of pace.
Well, I can take that with you.
Okay.
Does that leave a man cannon there?
There is that norm.
That seems like a great plan.
Let's not do that.
No, let's do it.
No.
Well, if Orem only meditates for 4 hours, will Orem be on the third shift with him?
Orm will be up for the last shift as well.
Sounds sensible.
And I will be aware. I will also be aware in my middle shift, even though I'm
Yeah, but presumably if you're actually active during a shift, like
Yes.
you're like moving around and looking around at things.
right. Well, I'm just aware. I'm not
Yeah.
around, so. All right, first shift.
Okay. So
Night, everybody.
was it again?
Or I'm in first shift.
Or of a cigar.
It's a car. It's a car.
All right. So what do you guys do during your shift?
So we're inside this big house. I'm going to, once again, like I did the last time, position myself between the two main doors. So that I have kind of a line of sight between them.
Where is Barrett sleeping?
Presumably each of you got a room somewhere in the house. So hers is underground, or she would have picked one of the ones that are below ground level.
Shakar is going to prowl in such a way that he does not get too far away from Orm at any given time.
You could probably hang out around her door in case she comes out.
No, I'm not going to hang out around her door, but I'm going to make sure that her door is visible and or audible.
Okay.
We got the dark vision. We can do that.
High five.
Yeah, Team Dark Vision.
Well, you guys have low light vision.
Team Low Light.
Cigar has conditional dark vision. But yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check.
17.
Nice. 39.
Wow, is that how it feels, Sam?
It's pretty nice, right?
It's awesome. It's like, I feel like I'm suffused with this feeling of awesomeness and maybe a little bit of coolness.
All right. Well, shift goes by uneventfully.
All right, I will go off to meditate.
I find some place to sleep that is not on top of a table with my arms crossed like Belgians.
We wake up Randus and Little Sparkle before we go off.
Right. Little Sparkle.
Yep.
Randus.
Everything good?
Yeah. Nothing unusual as of now.
Time for your shift, man.
Okay. I'm getting up.
Okay, good.
Team Nerdberg, yes.
You're a nerdbird.
Well said.
I thought you were better than that, Brian. Come on. Apparently not.
All right. So, what do you guys do during your shift?
Probably, quietly walk the perimeter. Go out outside.
Just contemplate into silence. Maybe just kind of look around the house. See, I don't know if there's anything in any weird nooks or crannies I can have assistants scurry into to find anything of interest.
Make sure you check on the bodies.
I suppose. Oh, good, still dead.
All right. Why don't you two give me a perception check?
35.
28.
Okay. Night goes by uneventfully. You really, these houses don't actually have a lot of, little nooks. They're built in, very geometrical ways. So, there's, places where maybe something else would fit into, like a piece of furniture. Maybe there's, an actual space that was built to, have a couch built, come out of it. Or something like that. But those are not very deep, so... But yeah, nothing really happens.
Nothing in the flue or any other deep.
Not really. Once you get to the bottom floors, there are sort of more ventilation systems, but really what that is just kind of the way that the house is built. Whenever doors are open or closed, they kind of create a natural direction for the wind to move, for airflow to happen.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Wake up, Cat.
Kill time.
stretch.
Okay, we're doing it.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your sleep. Now go find Cat. Hello, Cat.
Hi, Aura.
Barrett.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay, I guess.
Still tired?
A little bit.
Yeah? Okay. Maybe some, like, resurrection sickness or something.
Yeah.
You've performed this ritual before?
No. I've learned it, but I've never performed it.
Ah, okay.
Seems like one of those ones that you never want to perform.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there are clerics that have performed it many times. It's just I've never had to because I've never really been a field cleric.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll keep it that way from here out. Didn't seem to go all that great the first time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. All right. So what are you guys doing during your shift?
Kind of just wander around. I mean, I guess I don't anticipate anything jumping out at us.
Mostly gonna keep my eye on Barrett.
Okay. Why don't you guys give me a perception check?
Yay. Team blind guys.
19.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. That makes up for it.
That's 20. For a total of 35.
Okay.
Which is still worse than that.
Target, good eyes.
Yeah, not so much over here.
Odds add up to a lot at this level.
Okay, rolls an at 20, so you can see things that no one else would believe. Yeah, it sounds about right.
See things that aren't actually there. That's how good your number is.
Well, Barrett will walk around the house as well, and go upstairs, look out the windows, and when she does that, Kat sees one of the stones outside, one of the standing stones, move. It like kind of has a sudden kind of jerk in a, we'll say, kind of northward direction, just kind of, for about, it moves about, maybe a foot.
Is it the same direction the one looked like it moved last night, based on the slight scraping pattern?
Probably not.
Is that
I mean, it
towards us, away
depends. It
from
depends
us?
what you mean. If you mean like absolute direction, no. If you mean like relative direction, like you could probably think of like a few things they could both be moving towards, but nothing that clearly springs to mind.
Is northward away from us, towards us?
It's
side to side?
yeah, it's like away from. It's like diagonally away from you,
Okay.
from where you're standing.
And that happened when Barrett looked out the window?
Yeah, Bear was looking out the window, but she wasn't looking in that direction, and then you just kind of caught it out of the corner of your eye.
Where's Orem right now?
Downstairs, wandering around.
I mean, he'll probably believe this. But I'll wait till the morning and tell everybody at once. Actually, hey Barrett.
Yeah?
Did you see this standing stone move out there?
No. She like squints. Is that not where it was before?
Looked like it moved a good, maybe a foot or so northward.
Oh.
This light always
No, I didn't see
changing once
that.
I got here.
It's pretty dark out there.
It's gotta be delay after fucking delay after fucking delay.
I hope Orem's just correct for a change.
What an odd way to phrase it.
So, we'll spend the rest of the night by uneventfully.
This spectral presence of a finger floating near his face.
Not that you aren't normally correct, just that, normally when you're correct, it's not in our favor.
It's morning.
Yeah.
So, anything happen?
Another stone moved.
Oh, really? Where?
Let's grab everybody and go take a look together.
Yes, definitely. Come on, everybody. Ket found a stone that moved.
Okay.
Then we know what messes with it before the others can see it. Point and stare.
All right. So you guys go see the stone?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. You go out and walk a little bit, and sure enough, here's one of those standing stones.
Signs of like disturbed soil or movement.
Yeah, it looks like it kind of maybe got dragged about a foot.
Now, what direction is it going? Is it going towards the dome?
Yeah, it does seem to roughly be moving in the direction of the dome.
Why don't we just ask Wolverton about this?
Yes.
If we were to extrapolate the direction that the other one seemed to have possibly moved, would it have been going towards the dome?
Maybe. I mean, they're both kind of moving more or less towards the center of the island, but if you really extrapolated it, you know, they, like, you know, it's like if you are very precise in your directions, both of those stones, this one and the one you saw before, would miss the dome. But if you are broad and say, like, well, maybe they're just taking a very slow stroll downtown, then yes, they're both kind of heading in that direction.
Okay. Question. You know that thing that I can do conditionally? You know how in previous editions of the game, certain races had that ability built in? Kind of baked in?
I guess it depends on what exactly you're talking about.
So, the dark vision.
Yeah. Yeah, dwarves have dark vision baked in, for example. So, like, Barret has dark vision.
But didn't you just say it was dark outside?
Yeah, dark vision only works out to, like, 10 feet or something.
I'm just having haunted house flashbacks is all. I'm like trapped in a Shirley Jackson D&D game. It's creeping me out, dude.
Well, let's get
whatever you do, don't look behind you.
It's a rubber skeleton on a string.
Dwarves don't have dark vision.
Dwarves don't have dark vision?
Just low light.
Oh, well, there you go.
I am looking at the dwarf character builder currently.
There you go.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's something they, for some reason, very much limited in 4th edition.
That's probably good. It's probably so that because 4th edition has really terrible stealth rules. And they were like, hey, what if dwarves could do this? And they're like, how does that interact with their stealth rules? And somebody just shouted back, how does anything interact with
It's fair. I appreciate your house ruling them so that, you know, rogues function better.
Yes, but the actual rogues function.
Yeah.
Well, and yes. Thank you. I spent a lot of time thinking about how stealth could actually function. So, well, there you go. I guess, I mean, I'm okay with, you know, writing in that dwarves can have a little bit of dark vision. It's not a big deal. Especially since no one's playing a dwarf.
As far as we know.
Yeah, we've had dwarves in the party before, but no one's playing a dwarf right now.
So we're seeing this rock. There is one.
Yep.
I think once again I'm going to see if maybe I can diverge or a D word.
Divine?
Yeah, divest. And unusualness vis-a-vis possibly a nature check.
Not really.
Okay.
Does it look like there's any kind of device that's, I don't know, embedded in or planted under the rock that could have moved it?
It really doesn't look like it. You know, Sakard lifted a different one and there wasn't anything underneath it.
I can lift this one if you'd like.
Well, since we haven't had any other symptoms of weirdness going on, why don't we just go pay a visit to Olverdon and ask him about the stones?
Yep, let's gather our things and head out back to Ulridon and see if he is willing to see us.
Okay. You guys get your things?
Yes.
Go back down to the Undercity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
With Barrett in tow.
Show her the weird gravity.
Well, she's very happy to see the city. You know, she had seemed like maybe a little worried before, with Ket's baseless accusations. And but once you guys are underground and she's looking at the city, she just kind of seems to relax a lot more.
And that's when the goblins come.
That's when the goblins come. Now in the Astral Sea, they've really segregated things a lot harder. But you know, you guys may get to Goblin Island yet.
It's on the short list.
So you guys get to the dome.
Yes.
Climb on the dome.
Yes.
Upside down, climb on the dome. Go into the dome. Travel through the strange rooms, and yeah, eventually you get back to Ulridon's shop, basically. And long before you get there, you can hear him working. He's got a big giant hammer, and he's hitting some stuff on a table really hard, but you know, he's so big that it's hard to see what exactly he's working on. And whenever he strikes the hammer, it glows in like this bright, intense blue color that kind of shoots through it like energy, just kind of over and over again. It's just like clang, 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 clang.
Lord Ulridon?
Clang! Clang, 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 clang.
May we ask you a question?
Yeah, stop. Guys. When did you guys get here?
Just recently.
5 or 6 clangs ago.
Well, I didn't see you, I'm sorry. And he comes over to look at you guys, and you can see that he's not wearing his armor. He's basically just wearing some pants and some boots, and he's like shirtless, but he has a giant beard, so it kind of covers it all the way down to like his to his belt, pretty much. Some of his beard is it was gray, now some of it is red-ish, but it's hard to tell if it's because, you know, he's just got some debris on it or some dust on it or what.
We wanted to introduce Barrett. She was very interested in meeting you.
He looks at her, says, "Oh, I'm happy to meet you." And she says, "I'm happy to meet you too." He kind of looks a little sheepish. He's like, "So, what do you think of the city?" "Oh, it's magnificent." I'm like, "Yeah, it's nice." Sword's coming along. He's just kind of looking over at you guys.
Glad to hear it.
Should be done with it within the fortnight, assuming everything goes according to plan.
Excellent.
While you've been working, we've noticed that some of the standing stones appear to be moving. We were wondering what their purpose was.
Standing stones. What do those look like?
Describe it as the egg sliced in half, standing up with
sometimes egg markings, runes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, those are traps. seen any trolls?
No?
Well, then they must be working.
No. Oh, but why would they move?
I don't know. Maybe they caught a particularly big troll.
Oh, each of those has captured a troll?
I don't know.
How can we tell?
Well, I would certainly think that there might be a troll inside if it's trying to move.
Oh. Interesting.
Does the traps each have a name?
No, but there was a few houses that specialized in making them.
Oh, so some of them might have signatures.
Yeah, like a brand.
There are a lot of these. You must have had quite the troll infestation, if considering how many of them there are.
Yes, I suppose. Trolls used to be a real problem here.
Really?
Yep. Real nasty. Very difficult to get rid of trolls. Can't kill them, you know. Can't just chop them to bits. They just grow more bits.
Is there any chance that a troll trapped in one of those stones might be able to escape?
I don't know. I didn't design them, but maybe. I'm sure there are changes happening in the island ever since we came out of Shadow, so I suppose it could be a possibility.
Wow, okay. This changes a lot of things.
You guys haven't been messing with them, have you?
We moved one of them.
Like picked it up and put it back down.
I hope you put it back down in exactly the right place.
Great.
It's unlikely that we did so.
Well, it's probably still unlikely that a troll escaped that.
Something else to watch out for.
Alright then. Well, thanks for solving that mystery, I suppose. Is there anything else we can do for you while we're waiting?
I suppose I've got some work here that can be done.
Like what?
Well, are any of you smiths?
Everybody looks around us.
Not exactly, but I am an artificer.
But you've forged a weapon before, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you're a smith.
Okay.
So yes, I've got lots of stuff that can be done if you want to help.
Yeah. We got time to kill. Yeah, that'd be more than honored to help.
Good. Maybe you can help me out here for a while, and your friends can go check on those trolls.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Should we make a ritual before
Sure, we can do that.
you guys run off to check on troll traps?
What sort of ritual? You know, like we're all like linked together ritual.
All right.
So moment, I'll be right with you, sir.
All right. Well, you probably shouldn't mess with this here, but when you're ready, just let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
He goes back to clanging.
Brandis spend 1,100 gold pieces.
All right.
We all join hands and recite the lyrics of the Blues Quartet.
Alright. Are you including Barrett in the ritual?
Yes.
She's gonna share her spooky thoughts with us.
She's going to kill us all with your brain.
Let's see, plus 25.
Did you say 1,100?
Yeah.
Okay, I did 11,000.
Didn't come off too well. 27, which means
That is to say, did you want help from any of us?
yeah, you can because otherwise it's only gonna last an hour. We're barely get out of the dome. I mean, it's the mask because all it's gonna do is add 2 to it, right? Yeah, so it's gonna be an hour regardless.
2 per person who helps.
Oh, okay. Well, there's 2. There's 2. That's 4. So now we're up into the next block.
What kind of rolls we gotta roll?
Arcana.
Yeah, you might want to call it good there.
Yeah,
Let everybody
3
get together, get
hours.
lucky.
Don't have
3 hours.
Hopefully.
I always feel lucky.
ritual rather hastily. Probably these different ways that gravity works probably throws some magics off.
The clanging's
The clanging's a little distracting. Okay,
You still have Barrett signal to noise ratio
yes,
the way.
dialing in. Does everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Now I say that same thing.
Quick mechanical question on this ritual.
Okay.
Are we able to talk to a specific character?
Yeah.
Or a specific person? Okay.
You and up to 8 allies can communicate telepathically. You do not need to share a common language to communicate telepathically. Your con check results determines the duration of the ritual.
Yeah, you can do the party line, or you can make individual calls.
DM evil.
She said you want to talk to hashtag W in front of your thoughts.
I'm the evilest. No one believes you.
Kill your friend.
You weren't supposed to glue the sword in the ritual.
No.
He doesn't need to. The sword can just talk to you.
Yeah. All right. Well, time's wasting, so we better get off. And Randus, good luck. Please holler if you need anything. But I think you're probably in better hands than we are. We'll probably be the ones hollering.
Well, yeah. I'll go to Oladon and see what we need to do.
Okay. When you go back into his chamber, he is actually like normal dwarf size, and he has two just giant piles of basically a straw-like plant material. You're like, all right, start weaving.
Well, okay. I'll start weaving and see if it seems to be to his.
Yeah, he'll show you the weave.
Okay. This?
Yeah. Just make sure that it doesn't curve. This isn't a basket.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. I'll get to work weaving some fetch, whatever.
Just wait till he asks you to start spinning it into gold.
I mean, we
So
can
you
hear
have it
it
on backwards.
That's true.
I mean, it's kind of in my class name.
Oh yeah, Randus can turn all kinds of stuff into gold. The problem is the amount of material components it costs. It's just not cost effective.
It's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
Can you turn gold into gold? Because that would be impressive.
Yes, I can. I can turn gold into platinum for nothing. Also,
So you guys weave for a while.
yes.
So, got any interesting projects?
No, the main thing I've been kind of concerning myself with is trying to determine the best way to stabilize time in a localized area.
Just stabilizing time, huh?
Yeah. It's, I got a general theory, but haven't really sat down to actually start cranking that one out, because I'm trying to do what we can in the meantime to try to prevent that from happening, but with this current setback, I might need to start working on that contingency.
Well, what have you got on it so far?
Well, I guess the main plan is to construct some kind of building so that we have like a stabilized central meeting area that we can maybe hopefully coordinate any further efforts to get order back into the cosmos here.
So you're saying once time breaks down to a certain degree, you'll try to have a certain central place.
Just kind of a nexus that hopefully, so we need more of a localized area that have a fort to hold down, and hopefully try to make that as big of a impact as we can. Work out from there.
But that's just going to be a bit of a patch, won't it?
Yes. It's definitely going to be a patch. Like I say, our main focus effort is trying to get enough individuals of divine intent together to agree so that it doesn't completely unravel.
Well, it's difficult for me to observe changes in how time works because of my divine nature. I warp time by my very existence. So, I guess my only bit of insight is that since you all don't, or don't to a large degree, maybe that's a good way to approach it. Maybe instead of thinking of what is the biggest thing you can build to affect the largest area, maybe you should start small.
That's reasonable. Definitely had some previous experience having to stabilize the steps in time. Just largely working on trying to extrapolate that into a larger term solution.
Yeah.
And beyond that, we just so when Barrett was here, last that was with us, did you sense anything off about her?
Not really, but I did spend a lot of time analyzing her. I think I made it very plain that I got some issues to work out about my relationship with my people. So I was somewhat embarrassed to see a dwarf in my chamber.
I do apologize, but she was very interested in meeting you. I do think she looks up to you. But she had get to a bit of an unfortunate end. We crash landed. And we brought her back, but there's some concern that she may have been corrupted in some way.
No.
The Obsidian Huntress, formerly the Raven Queen, does seem to be somewhat on the opposing side.
I remember the Raven Queen. And now she has changed?
Yeah, she seems to have changed. Something with having given at least part of her soul to our companion, Ken.
Oh. You're all a very strange group.
We did that.
Well, I'm afraid I don't have much in the way of insight there. Other than, I suppose, it really depends on how you see this conflict. If you see it as a war, then you definitely have to make you have to analyze what it would cost you to have one of your resources compromised in this way. certainly, if you think of it as spycraft, then the cost is that much higher. Because if all you're dealing with is information, then who knows what this means. But if you see it as something else, then you have to approach it in a different way. But I'm just a smith and a warrior, so that's all I know.
Well, with that, I think we're mainly concerned that the forces opposing us seems to be taking this in a very warlike fashion.
Well, that is a property of war. If someone wages war on you, you are in a war. There is nothing you can do about it. So.
Well, I do think we're unfortunately in a war. We're just trying to drop the sides of who's where.
Hey, look. Hello? Hello? Yeah. I am probably about half an hour or so from the yard. Yeah. Say again? I didn't hear you. I got an hour. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's maintaining temperature very well. It keeps going from green to yellow, back to green, back to yellow, back to green. Yeah, it's running. Okay. I think this is the same trailer we had trouble with the last time. Okay, I can do that. Okay, that's not a problem. Yep. Alright, you too, bud. Bye.
Well, that is unfortunate. War is not great for little people. But I suppose for me that'll make things easier.
Yeah. I'm definitely glad to have you with us in a capacity.
Well, I'm glad to be in a capacity to help. And he throws a mat of woven together reeds kind of off over there and starts on another one. So meanwhile, you guys get back topside?
Yes.
76 1,000 trolls meet us. Oh.
What are you guys up to?
I guess we need to go back to that one stone and see if
Yeah, try to get it back in the right spot.
see if anything's broken out.
Yes, let's
see if there's still a stone.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one are you going to?
The one that I lifted.
Oh.
Yeah. The other one we didn't touch. We didn't move, right? Yeah.
Would the other one be closer?
Yeah, but we didn't move that one.
The other one would be closer.
Would it be relatively on the way?
It will explicitly not be on the way because you guys triangulated that, so you'll definitely have to backtrack, sort of, basically go in a completely different direction once you get to it.
If you wanted to take the most direct route, you have to take the hypotenuse.
Yes.
Well, I think we need to take the hippopotamus because if there's any chance that the one that we moved is going to free something, we want to go there first.
Yep.
The other one seemed to move a little further.
Well, if there's something there that needs to be taken care of, it will still be there once we've checked on the first. I mean, either way, it's a 50-50 chance. But there's one that we know that we are responsible for.
Do trolls eat corpses?
Oh no.
I think we split up.
Well, we already got the ritual.
Alright, so...
I really feel like if we don't go to one of them, that one's going to be the one broken.
So best course of action is split the party.
So what I'm hearing is Little Sparkle, Oram, and Sakar go to one of them.
And then Baron and Cat will go to the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fact.
Perfect plan, perfect plan.
Alright, so what is the plan? I'm guessing as you guys are walking or poking out into the surface, Cat starts freaking out about this a little.
Well, who here has had to fight a troll? Show of hands.
Yeah, I don't think any of you have ever fought a troll.
Oh, I'm sure I have.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm not going to let them know that.
Okay, so you're lying. Yeah, okay.
I'm not lying. I'm selectively remembering. Fine. If we do split up, how are we going to split?
Ogres, trolls, same difference.
I think it's you and Orm and then me and the ladies. Trolls and fire don't mix. And, well, I can do a lot of fire, you can do a lot of fire. Orm can do a decent... Can you do a decent amount of fire today, Orm?
Sure. Let's say yes.
How's stabbing work?
I mean, they have to be damaged enough to take down. As far as I know, just fire's the last finishing touch sort of thing.
He said that we cannot kill them.
Or maybe we can subdue them and put them in a trap?
Alright,
Yeah.
we split.
Alright, so...
Hashtag team pointy.
So it's Sakar and Oram down one way and Cat. Okay, so who's going to which one?
Well, Sakar is going to the one that Sakar lifted.
Okay.
And I'm going because I know Sakar who's going to that one.
So Sakar and Oram are going to that one?
Yes.
The one by the ship?
Yes. Cat's going to the one he's panicking about.
Okay. I'll go with him to that one.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Sure, Sakar and Warren.
Yes.
So Sakar and Oram head down, and like I said, most of these stones are out on the street, and the one that you guys found was out on the street. It was kind of out in the open. As you guys approach, you can see that it's not there.
So that might sort of thought.
It's not. As you get closer, you can see that it's actually crumbled.
That's not good. I think it's out.
Are there any indications of footprints or?
Yeah, once you get up to it, you can see a few things. One, the statue has crumbled, or the standing stone has crumbled. It appears from the pieces that it was somewhat hollow, not necessarily, not completely hollow, not like chocolate bunny hollow, more like maybe like empty core hollow. And you can see that there is a goopy residue on the inner hollow parts that you see, and then there are these, like, I don't know, maybe 5, we'll say like 4.5 feet long, like 3-toed footprints leading away from it.
How long?
It's not
Like
ideal.
4.5
feet. 4.5 feet.
Long. How far? Which direction are they heading?
They seem to be heading roughly towards the ship.
Dead on run.
I'm letting everyone else know what's going on. Giant trolls.
Troll in the dungeon. Sakaar is moving as fast as Sakaar possibly can.
Okay. So we'll dial back. So Ket and Barrett and Little Sparkle get to the standing stone.
How's it looking?
It's fine, although it appears to have moved again a little bit, kind of in perpendicular direction to when it first moved.
Cool. So it looks like this is shaking open.
Not really.
Seems okay. I mean, maybe this one just caught one and it's doing its thing. We didn't move it.
Alright. This one seems okay. Moved a little bit further.
So right as you're getting ready to communicate that, you hear room in your head.
Troll. Escaped.
Oh boy. On our way.
Randus hears that too.
Do you guys need me to come that way?
Yes?
Big troll. 4 feet for feet.
Okay, hey, Ordon.
Yes?
Sorry to have to go, but apparently a troll has escaped from a trap. And I guess my companions are gonna go head down and I'm gonna go assist them.
He holds out his hand for the mat that you're working on.
I hand it over.
He just kind of sets it aside. I'll come back when you're done.
Absolutely. Thank you again for this opportunity. I'll be back as quick as I can.
Maybe he wants to join us and kill a troll? He is a warrior.
You wouldn't want to come fight a troll, would you?
No, I'm busy.
Fair enough. Well, have fun. I'll come back when I can.
Alright.
Alright, head that way, guys.
How far out is Randus?
Yeah, you know.
A while.
Like an hour.
Yeah, maybe. Well, an hour at a walk. If he, hustles, he might be there in half an hour.
I guess I'll hustle.
Okay. So a few yards before you guys get to where the ship crashed, like you see the footprints, and they kind of start moving towards like a rockier, hillier kind of outcropping, which is part of the complex of hills that you guys crashed into, and so it becomes a lot harder to track.
Does tracking fall under dungeoneering?
Nature or?
If it's above ground, it's nature. If it's below ground, it's dungeoneering.
Oh, cool. It's above ground. I'll follow the footsteps.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a nature check.
All right. 29.
Okay. You follow the trail for a while, kind of get up on a hill, so you can see, but you don't really spot it, and you kind of lose the trail. You can, however, from your vantage point, see Barrett and Little Sparkle and Cat kind of moving in the direction of the ship.
We've tracked it up into the hills. It seems to be moving away from the ship, but I've lost the trail.
Where are you at?
Look up.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh. I'll see if I can help. Sorry, heading that direction.
Yep, we're gonna follow.
Can I attempt to track once I get there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Tracking.
36.
That's higher.
It is.
It's high.
Surprisingly.
I think we have the same nature.
We do have the same nature. I just managed to roll a higher number than you did somehow.
That's how dice work.
Yeah, you managed to pick up the trail again.
Alright.
We'll follow it.
Okay. You guys start following the trail. It leads you up into the hills.
Following it with swords.
Brandis, we are up in the hills.
Okay. Making my way.
Don't you wish you'd brought the buoy down?
I guess.
The buoy would definitely not help you out in the hills.
Horrendous mobile.
Alright, so Ket is tracking the troll. What do the rest of you do?
I'm still following Sakar, apparently.
Sakar is going with Ket to track a troll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming with too. I'll just, I'm not really a tracker, but I'll try to look out for anything else that is of note while we're at it.
Okay.
Traps and little hanging branches and things.
Okay. Well, you guys track its path for a while, but it becomes obvious, definitely after a solid hour of tracking, that this thing moves really fast. And so trying to keep to the, like, you guys tracking it have to move at a certain speed, and it is clearly like
Way outpacing
moving,
us.
yeah, way outpacing you, just because you have to be so careful.
So with the size of the feet and the distance between the footprints, definitely dealing with something that is of a massive size.
This thing would be huge.
Huge, okay.
Yeah.
Huge feet.
Hey guy, we need a bird's eye view. We're tracking a huge troll. He's been going in this direction. Can you fly up and see if you see anything?
Okay. Guy will fly up several feet, look around, come back down. I didn't see anything.
Alright. Thank you.
Is there anything in the direction that it's traveling that we're aware of? Have we been this direction, or do we know what is this direction?
You haven't, but I mean, it's more city, you know? It's like this whole place, this whole island is inhabited. It does have like hilly areas and like grassy areas and stuff, but you know, there's just like more habitations out that way, and eventually you get to the coast.
I guess we can just hope that it falls into a different trap.
If it's moving away, it may not be an issue for us currently.
Yeah, I mean, just tracking it seems like it's not really working.
And if it comes back, we we should probably be ready. But
No more moving rocks, I guess.
I think at this point we may be actually working against our goals by moving further away from the remains of the ship and our settlement. So.
Alright, I guess let's head back.
Hey, Randa. Hi, guys. Who's the troll? Slow down. Okay.
As soon as we get to the bottom of the hill, Randus runs up. Hey guys, what is it?
Troll's too fast for us. We're just gonna post extra watch. Okay. What time is it?
It's, let's say, 3 in the afternoon.
Okay, I'll get back to Oradon.
Okay. Watch out for trolls.
Will do.
Do we know anything about trolls and their habits?
That would probably be a, let's say, a nature check. Yeah.
How's a 31 sound?
Better than my 25.
Yes, trolls. What are trolls about? Well, trolls are very big. This is by far the biggest troll you've ever heard of. They're usually not this big. They are nasty. They're mean. They're very aggressive. They don't like it when other critters enter their territory. Except when they do like it because they're dinner. Trolls are also entirely sentient, so a troll can be pretty smart. A troll can be like pretty articulate. A troll can also learn magic in the same way that pretty much any other sentient humanoid type could learn magic. Although there are no troll wizards as far as you know. But there could be, for example, troll sorcerers or whatever. What else? They usually smell pretty bad, and they're usually green, but you know there's like different types of trolls too. So, you know, like snow trolls are probably have like white skin.
Lightning trolls are yellow.
Yeah.
Grass types are green. Do we know? Well, we know they eat stuff. Do they eat people?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. People are yummy.
Yeah. They have no compunction about eating other sentient critters.
So 3 3/4 of us could be in trouble.
Now, they're also not picky, so they're not gonna... They're not gonna be like, oh, is it? Yeah, they'll... After they eat someone, they'll be like, oh, maybe that guy wasn't a human because it tasted weird.
Okay. So basically what we know is it's a really good thing that we probably didn't catch this massive giant troll thing.
I don't know. I mean, you guys have successfully fought big massive things before, but definitely it's you know, that's it, you know, when like Han Solo like chases a bunch of stormtroopers, like and then they get to the end and they just kind of turn around on them. You guys might have found yourself in that sort of situation.
Okay.
It's like oh wait, our healer isn't here yet.
This was a mistake.
We have a probably not undead cleric with us.
Probably. She might just be a revenant.
Probably not undead. Probably describes a lot more of us than you want to give credit to, though. Alright, so.
I mean, 4 of us are definitely not undead.
Definitely is. Anyway. Okay, so we should probably head back. Randus is going to work with Oldon. What were the rest of us going to do during that time frame? Before we went off on our...
We were going to check the troll traps.
Our trollster egg hunt, as it were.
They learn how to weave too.
I would like to go back to that rumbled trap and see if I can figure out how the trap works. And maybe Bear can come with me. Maybe she has some some background, some dwarven background that might provide some insight onto this.
So where we
because there might be a
translate,
there might be a way to
reactivate or rebuild it.
Yes, to trap a troll.
That's smart.
Okay.
We should probably keep an eye on the other one that's been moving just in case.
Splits party again. Okay. So Barrett and Cat.
Well, Barrett and Orem.
No, definitely Barrett and Cat. Actually, Barrett should go with Orem.
Well, that's what I said.
I know, you did say that. So, Sakaar and Cat go to the one that's been moving?
Yeah, just go back to the house.
Okay. So, Orem and Barrett will go back to the broken trap.
Yes.
Go ahead and give me a religion check.
Oh, okay. Hey, don't laugh. It's not horrible.
No,
my perception is actually worse than.
Yeah, it's not Randus level crazy, but it's not bad.
24.
That's really
low all night.
Yeah. From a very basic physical standpoint, you're pretty sure that the way that the trap is supposed to work is that it, like, literally catches the troll through a very small orifice and then essentially forcibly pulls it in, like, liquefying it in the process.
But there's not are these auto traps, or these, like, if the troll walks within a radius that it would activate or anything like that? Can I tell?
You can't really tell. And Barrett doesn't seem to know either.
Interesting. Okay, well, we know at least how it works, but the method in which it works, but we just don't know how these things work. We don't know if the troll maybe stumbled upon another one of these and has already been sucked up, or if it knows to stay away from them, or... Alright, Barrett, let's just go back to the house.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay now.
Yeah, you're just not tired anymore?
I mean, a little.
Okay.
We did just trek up those hills.
True. Reaching my bag, lots of meat jerkies.
Oh, thanks.
And I guess we'll head back to the house.
Yeah. Eventually, Barrett and Orem get back to the house. What are the rest of you up to?
Well, team #facial hair bros. We're gonna go check out the one that moved of its own accord.
Okay.
So, are you gonna come with us, Sparkle?
Yeah, sure. This is so weird and magic-y stuff that I don't really know what to do, so I will just tag along.
We will be team #SakarCled.
Yeah, okay. So it hasn't moved again since the second time it moved.
Well, that's probably good.
Not knowing that Orem did this and that it's a religion check, do you think that we could, without, I don't know, moving this or in any way setting it off or allowing a troll out, maybe try and discern how it might work?
Probably not. You guys have been throwing your skills at these rocks for like 3 days now and haven't really figured it out.
Are there any other rocks nearby?
Yeah.
I was just checking, see if any of the other ones are moving.
How long do you spend looking?
47 minutes.
47 minutes, you do not spot any others that have moved.
Okay.
Also in 47 minutes, probably Barrett and Orem show up.
Hey guys.
Hello.
What are you doing?
Tempting to see